We're getting the latest now in the race for the White House and new revelations from Bob Woodward about Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Kamala Harris pounced on the reporting. Our chief Washington correspondent John Carl spoke with the former president. Good morning, John.
Good morning, George. In his new book, Bob Woodward describes Trump's relationship with Vladimir Putin as one that continued after Trump left the White House. The two men, Woodward says, exchanging phone calls as recently as earlier this year. The Kremlin denies that, so does Trump. But Woodward's most explosive reporting refers to something that he says happened while Trump was still in the White House during the early days of the COVID pandemic. As the COVID pandemic was raging and the government could not produce enough COVID tests for the American people, then President Donald Trump secretly sent newly developed and extremely hard to get rapid testing devices to Russia to Vladimir Putin for the dictator's personal use. That's according to Bob Woodward in a soon-to-be-published book called War. Woodward writes that Putin told Trump to keep it a secret, saying, quote, "I don't want you to tell anybody because people will get mad at you, not me." Kamala Harris seized on Woodward's reporting, talking about it overnight on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Donald Trump secretly sent COVID test kits to Putin for his personal use. I ask everyone here and everyone who is watching, you remember what those days were like? You remember how many people did not have tests and were trying to scramble to get them? And this man is giving COVID test kits to Vladimir Putin? Think about what this means, on top of him sending love letters to Kim Jong-un. No, think about it. He thinks Vladimir Putin is his friend. What about the American people? They should be your first friend.
Trump often boasts about his close relationship with Putin.
I got along very well with Putin. I spoke to him a lot. Then they say how nice I was to Russia. No, I wasn't nice, but we got along. We had a good relationship, which is a good thing, not a bad thing.
Woodward also reports that Trump has had, quote, multiple phone calls with Putin since he left the White House, including at least one call earlier this year. I spoke to Trump, and he denied it all.
He said was that you've had a number of conversations with Putin. Is that true? I mean, I imagine that could be.
No?
That's
False.
Oh, really?
That's false.
So you haven't spoken to him since you left the White House?
No, I have not.
And the other.
False.
I also asked him about those COVID tests. He denied that, too.
And the other thing he said is that you had provided some Abbott test machines to Putin back during the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, false.
In making his denials, Trump also had some choice words for Woodward, saying that he is a storyteller who has, quote, lost his marbles. Although, George, as you know, Woodward is one of the most respected journalists of our time.
Many of his scoops have been borne out. Okay, John Carl, thanks very much.